Good morning, YouTube. I'm in Northwest Dayton, and the reason I'm making this video because Rite Aid, the Walgreens merger, the FTC or whoever they are, they blocked the merger. But however, Walgreens later went on to buy at least half of their locations. And the reason why I'm at this location is because, well, Walgreens, Rite Aid in general, I've noticed for the last several years, doesn't really do a whole lot of business. And because this is in an area that tends to lose a lot of their businesses, a lot of abandonment along the Salem Avenue area. And with Walgreens having two other locations very close to here, and with Walgreens buying half their stores, well, you can probably imagine that this store will not last for long. But I think either way, regardless of whether or not the FTC approved the merger or not, or whether Rite Aid decided to close a bunch of stores, or whether or not Walgreens still got to get some of their stores, I honestly didn't think the future was going to end that well, you know, for Rite Aid in general. And I suspect Walgreens is going to be closing a lot of their unprofitable stores, since they bought around half of them. And you know, but this speaks to something I've talked about before. We are just overbuilt as a country in regards to commercial real estate. And we got way too many drugstores in this country for what we need. There's just too many pharmacies, there's too much retail, there's too many restaurants, too many hotels. And you know, one thing I've noticed this year, you know, this year alone, I've seen a lot of businesses that are just bellying up and going out of business altogether. So, you know, we've overbuilt this country to the point of stupidity, and now the chickens have really came home to roost. And they're having a big feast right now. But you know, the herd has to be thinned out. You know, we have to get ourselves back to an actual, you know, something that is actually sustainable in this country. And building more restaurants and building more retail and hotels and all this stupidity just is not the answer, you know, economically, to solve all these problems. We need to learn that less is more in this regard, that to stop building for the sake of building, or just because a business thinks they want to move in, you know. And we need, you know, people in city council and the builder departments to say, no, you're not going to build here. Because ultimately this property is going to end up becoming abandoned, and Rite Aid's going to end up pulling out of here. I'm sure Walgreens is already looking at the chopping block of the unprofitable locations. Obviously, the store's not open. It's early Sunday morning. But I've been into this store a few times, and they just don't have that much business. And I've been to a few other Rite Aids in the area as well, and they just simply are not a good draw. Now, the Walgreens, which is about a mile down the road from here, does very good business. And there's another Walgreens, you know, about 2 or 3 miles north of here, by where the old Salem Mall area used to be at. Both of them draw very good and do very good business, so I don't really see them hanging on to this location for much longer. Whenever the lease is up on the store, or just whenever they can break the lease, they'll be closing a lot of business. They'll be closing a lot of the Rite Aids like this, because this unfortunately fits an area where, you know, businesses tend to close a lot. And you know, it certainly will be unfortunate to have another empty building in the area, and I think somebody needs to be held responsible for this mess. And so what do you guys think about this? And specifically the future of drugstores in this country. To me, I just think there's just far too many of them, and with most of them, you know, and with most big box stores, Target, Walmart, Myers, Kroger's having a a pharmacy inside of them, you know, there just is not a need, you know, for this stuff. Like, you know, like one thing I've noticed myself, you know, like anytime I go to a place like this and look at the cost of over-the-counter medicine, it's always more expensive here than it is at Kroger's or Walmart. And the reason being is because, you know, with the pharmacy being inside a big box store, they don't have to pay to maintain a separate building and a separate lease and the maintenance. So it's a lot better and cheaper to operate in a standalone, to operate inside a grocery store than it is a big box inside of a standalone pharmacy. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. That's going to be it for this one.